Mahaprabhu was sitting in a low place. He, with his own hand, brought him and put him on a nice seat among the sannyasis, a seat of honor. So like that, when these wives of the Brahmanas returned to their homes, their husbands saw them. They were brilliant with the effulgence of Krishna consciousness. And these Brahmins, the husbands, they were all blackened by the smoke of their yajna. And they were feeling themselves unsuccessful just doing karmakanda rituals and, what's the point? And they said, to hell with our rituals, to hell with our learning, to hell with our brahmacharya, our years in the Gurukul, to hell with our whole Brahmin existence. So you see, it's such a reverse when you study this. It's a wonderful plot device, they would say. That the wives of the Brahmanas were worried that their social position would go to hell. And Krishna said, you don't worry about that, you go back. And the result was that their husbands, whom they were worried about, they were worried, what will our husbands say when we go back? Their husbands condemned themselves to hell. You can you see in Krishna book, they're saying, to hell with this, to hell with it, to hell with it. So they condemned themselves. Because they could realize by our ignoring Krishna, we have missed the opportunity to become perfect in our spiritual lives. So this is faith. This is faith in Krishna. This is the point. You see? And as Prabhupada is writing here, that when devotional service is executed as it is, yes, as it is handed down parampara system, then it is not easy. It is not easy for these people. These selfish people. Neither the gross materialists nor the impersonalists. Because they have to give up their selfishness. They have to surrender. And this is what they don't want to do. What does Krishna say about those who never surrender to him? What does he call them? He calls them dushkritina. And this ashradhana purusha tamashasha parantapa aprapyamam nivartami. They never attain me. He's saying the same thing in that verse too. They never attain me. Mrityu samsara vartmani. Instead, all they attain is this world of birth and death. You see? So this is due, ashradhana, due to lack of faith. So this manushanam sahasrishu kaschid mam, this verse also, the gross materialistic people, ordinary class of people, they don't have faith in Krishna, and neither do the impersonalist intellectuals striving for Brahman realization. And so they must also fall down. They must also come back to this material world. So kaschin mameti tattva, very, very rare. Samahatma sadurlava, very rare to find one who knows Krishna. So getting back to this, yes, the comparison between these two verses, Shradhana Purusha Dharmashasha Prantava and Manushanam Sahasreshu, that in this Ashradhana Purusha verse, Srila Prabhupada speaks of persons from the faithless class who join the Krishna consciousness movement. But they cannot stick to the process. Again, why? Because in the purport to today's verse, Srila Prabhupada says, actually bhakti is not easy. Well, it is easy, like Prabhupada said. It is simple for the simple. For those who are straightforward, who can surrender to Krishna, who can, like Prabhupada, I was telling, Prabhupada said in Vrindavan 75, Krishna says, you surrender to me and I will take care of your liberation. And Prabhupada went on to say, and if you think you can do it, if you think it is, no, I will do something for my liberation. And Prabhupada said, you're a rascal. Because this is what Krishna is saying. You just surrender to me. And never you mind. This is the whole point of this Gita. Arjuna is offering so many arguments and Krishna is cutting through them like a hot knife through butter. Coming to the point, you just surrender to me. And I will take care. Don't you worry about this and that, this and that, this and that. Because Krishna is God. This is what has to be accepted. Unless one has that faith that Krishna is God, then how you can surrender in this way? One, you see, to the degree that we don't have faith, then to that degree we're looking, over our shoulder. We're looking like, for our own security. Huh? What is that? Without egoism, without lethargy, and without being concerned for one's own position. You see, this is the meaning of pure devotional service. Not to take it up egotistically. I will become a big devotee by my great endeavors. Or not to be lazy and crazy just coming to the temple because you don't, here you can eat, do a little service, sleep nicely, keep a roof over your head. And out there you have to work so hard. That's also not good. And it's also not good to be worried for one's position. To be in anxiety. You just, like Prabhupada said, a very interesting statement Srila Prabhupada said. He said to one of his disciples, don't try to become spiritually advanced. You just serve your spiritual master. This is the meaning of Sarvadharma Pratijita. Don't try by some own process, some concoction to enhance your devotional service in some way. Of course, your spiritual master may say do that. Then it's under the order of Guru. But what this means is, if one is doing that, one has one's Guru, one is receiving instruction, guidance from him, everything is there. But if one is thinking, still I have to add something, like His Holiness Hridayananda Maharaj remembers, he once decided to go on a program of eating less. So he was eating very little each day. And Prabhupada could notice that. So at first, Prabhupada didn't indicate that he was noticing that. And Hridayananda Maharaj was thinking, I'm being a real sannyasi, I'm austere and this and that. So he was walking with Srila Prabhupada back from morning walk in Los Angeles. And when they got to Prabhupada's door, then in the hallway outside, there was one radiator. And someone had left on the radiator a big plate of prasadam, a big, like, mountain of prasadam on a plate. You know how devotees are, it's right in front of Prabhupada's room, but someone left a big mountainous plate of prasadam there. So as Prabhupada came into the hallway to enter his room, he saw that. And he was looking at it, and of course everyone was thinking, oh, now there's going to be some lightning flashes. Prabhupada, what is this nonsense? Who has put this here? What is this? But what Prabhupada did was, there were different devotees there, but he turned and he looked at Hridayananda Maharaj, and he said, eat that. So here was Maharaj, he had been fasting and eating very little, and he hadn't been telling anyone, but Prabhupada knew the whole program, and so he eat that. So this is the point. Don't try to become advanced. by your own separate endeavor. Surrender to Guru, surrender to Krishna. Krishna is acting as Arjuna's Guru, and this is what he's telling. You surrender to me, and then I will take care. I will take care of your deliverance from this material world. Don't fear. Don't be in anxiety. Whether I'm advancing, whether I'm becoming purified, this, that. This is faith. That definition of faith also, that Shraddha Shabde, what is that? Vishwashat. Anyway, there's this Bengali. That faith in Krishna means the conviction that by just serving the Lord, then all purposes will be accomplished in one stroke. There's no need to, yes, I serve Krishna, but there's this I have to also do, that, this to attend to, this, that, the other thing. Just serve Krishna and everything will be accomplished. This is how faith is defined. So to the degree that we lack this faith, then to that degree our progress is slowed down. To that degree we put ourselves in danger of falling down. You see? And it means to that degree we will be inclined to these other things mentioned in tonight's verse, the impersonalism or the gross materialism. Well, this is all rooted in the nature of our faith. So adaushada, everything begins with that. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Any questions? Yes?
If you look at the Vaishnava schools in India, then one of the most ancient schools is like the Sri Vaishnava school. They have a very strong seat in Ayodhya. I was saying, didn't Vaishnavism start in Ayodhya because it's very ancient? It's Treta Yug, Ikshvaku, Manamed, Ravi. Like, and then how did the other schools come up from South India? It seems like that's the most ancient.
Well, the sampradayas go back to this Sri Sampradaya goes back to goddess Lakshmi. So you see, this is the origin of these sampradayas is not to be calculated in terms of human history. The founder acharya of these sampradayas, it means they revived these sampradayas in the Kali Yuga. Because Kali Yuga, dislocates everything. And we find the clear, in our own sampradaya, we find it very clearly illustrated by Madhvacharya, who went to Uttara Bhadrakashram to meet Vyasadeva. And therefore, in our list of Sampradaya Acharyas, you see Brahma, Narada, Vyas, Madhva. That's a real jump. You see, it's a real leap. Because Brahma, Narada, Vyasadeva, he's 5,000 years ago. So sometimes people ask, how is it Madhva? He lived, 1100 AD, something like that. So how is he counted as disciple of Vyasadeva? But Vyasadeva is actually living still in Himalayas, the snowy mountain peaks above Bhadrakashram. Uttara Bhadrakashram means north of Badrinath. And so that is there in the history, how Madhvacharya went up there and his one disciple who came with him that far was trying to follow him but could not, and he was seeing his spiritual master was riding the wind because he is Vayu. Madhva, this is the, so to speak, esoteric understanding of Madhva's identity. That is, he is Mukhya Prana. So he is Vayu. So he was riding with the winds. It's very windy in the Himalaya region. So he was riding the wind from peak to peak, leaping, not, just gliding through the air from one mountain peak to the next, and this disciple, he had to give up. He was trying to follow his spirit. His spiritual master told his disciples, you stay back, I am going. But one thought, let me go behind, see if my guru needs something. And he realized, I cannot follow. He's flying between the peaks. And so this way he disappeared from sight, and he met Srila Vyasadeva, and they discussed Shastra. And in this way, Madhvacharya was able to hear from Vyasadeva himself what is the purport. So, in this way, the Founderacharyas, Madhva, Ramanuja, Nimbarka, and Vishnu Swami, they have revived these ancient sampradayas in the Kali Yuga. So, Sri Sampradaya goes back to Goddess Lakshmi, one of the important texts of the Sri Sampradaya, because it is a very pancharatric sampradaya. We are too, Gaudiyas, very pancharatric. So one of their important texts is the Lakshmi Tantra. So this is Lakshmi Ji, Mahalakshmi speaking. And so she's describing the whole philosophy of service to the Lord and proper system of yajna and puja and the mantras that are used in puja, and the whole thing that the Sri Vaishnavas are well known for, their elaborate puja ceremonies. They still do yajnas, they still chant Vedic mantras. So all these elements are explained by Goddess Mahalakshmi, and she is speaking to Indra. So this is in ancient, we're not talking world history here, we're talking universal history. So the Nimbarka Sampradaya goes back to the four Kumaras, and the Vishnu Swami or Ballava Sampradaya goes back to Rudra, Lord Shiva. So these are ancient traditions that extend to the beginning of the world, beginning of the creation. But they were revived in Kali Yuga by these Sampradaya founder acharyas. Anything else? Yes?
You said everything starts with faith, but one of our gurus asked me, what is your faith based on? And I couldn't answer.
You couldn't answer?
I couldn't answer, I didn't know what to answer. Do you know what faith is based on?
Faith is based on or nurtured by association with devotees. You gain the seed of Shraddha, faith in Krishna, by some contact, however brief, lavamatra, even 1/11 of a second. It can be very indirect, but somehow or other we come in contact with the Lord's devotees. Somehow or other means perhaps by a book. Just like myself, I started to get faith in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra long before I knew that there was Srila Prabhupada, that there was an International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But Prabhupada had told this beatnik poet, Allen Ginsberg, whenever you recite poetry, you should chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So he did that. And he made a recording of the chant, Hare Krishna mantra, according to his own tune. he made a recording of that, which came out in 1967. So the thing, this is Allen Ginsberg. He was a very degraded fellow, and the musicians he recorded with were similarly unmentionably degraded types of persons. But the order of Prabhupada was behind this, you see. So there was somewhere, there was that Sangha, there was that association with Srila Prabhupada. So I remember, being a young, teenage person, that age, now and as then, teenagers are famously fond of music, collecting. Well, in those days there were record albums, but now it's CDs. Anyway, from so many different groups. So I was like that. I had so much music from. And I used to like to find, my tastes in music were unusual. So I found out about this album recorded in New York, Allen Ginsberg chanting Hare Krishna. So I got that, and I used to listen to this again and again and again and again. And I started chanting myself. And I had no idea. I had no idea that this is the name of God. I had no idea that Krishna, who or what Krishna was. I had no idea that there was a Hare Krishna movement. But I just was attracted to this chanting of Hare Krishna. So, because he did that, Allen Ginsberg did that on the order of Srila Prabhupada, so there was some association. And similarly then, around that time too, later actually, then George Harrison's Radha Krishna Temple album came out, and that was much more direct. And by that time, actually that was my first hearing that. I became aware that there was some movement, there was something called Radha Krishna Temple, and there was some movement. So I became more interested. And this was also, you see, the order of Srila Prabhupada. So faith starts, or someone gets a book, or somehow or other we come in contact with Vaishnava Sangha. And there the faith starts. And then it is nurtured, it develops by Sangha. You see? At first the contact, it will be, so to speak, accidental and maybe very indirect. But when we then seek out the association of devotees and regularize ourselves in that association, then the faith becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Yes?
I remember in a seminar some years back, Rabindra Swarupa was explaining that faith is an act of attraction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is it that we have faith simply when we're attracted?
Well, it's certainly, you see, a human being is a creature of faith. Everyone has faith in something. And yes, that's true. In that which they have faith, they have attraction. Must be. Just like, relationship between two people. Two people become friends because they're attracted to each other and because they have faith in each other. They think, I can trust this. I would, of course I didn't hear what he said directly, but based on your comment, I would say that in faith, the element of attraction is there, but also the element of trust is there. So, you may be attracted. You may find someone physically attractive. I mean, that's just a sensual reaction. But like there may be some very beautiful woman. She's physically very attractive, but if it is known that she cannot be trusted, that she's very disreputable person, not a good person, then, seeing her beauty, one will feel attraction. That's natural. That's the senses. You see, the senses will tug our consciousness in that direction. But if you know that you can't trust this person, then you're not going to enter into a relationship. You're not going to have faith in that person. So there's an attraction, like in friendship, when people become friends. There's the element of attraction, they like one another, but they trust one another. That's what really makes friends, you see. That here's a person, I can talk, I can reveal what's in my heart to this person. And this person will listen to me and not laugh at me and not, as soon as I leave, get on the phone, hey, you know what I just heard? Spread it all over town. You see, that's what I mean. Like a woman may be beautiful, but if she's known to be a gossip, then who's going to be her friend, you see? If she's that type of woman, anything she hears, she's immediately... And you're not going to, talk to her about anything that's, confidentially important to you, because she's just going to put it out on the street. So I would say attraction plus trust. This is faith. All right, then let's stop here. So tomorrow we have a program. Is it not?
Yes.
And what time do we have to be here?